there! Kumusta naman kayo? And welcome to Kwentuhang Pilipina, a safe space for you to listen and be heard. Honest mistake. I am your Sunshine Cleo, founder of Hiray Pilipina and your host in this podcast. For today's episode, I am so grateful to be joined by Bernos, a truly empowering woman. She is an entrepreneur with her brands Morena the Label and Ideology Studio. She is also a content creator with nearly 1 million followers on TikTok. You might actually know her for advocating on Morena empowerment and challenging colorism. Here's a sneak peek of our kwentuhan.
Seeing how language played such an important role, I realized that if we can consciously maintain those harmful beauty standards through like ads, the media, then we can also, through the use of our own language and the boom of the internet, where everybody has a platform, I love that, we all have a platform on the internet, then we can challenge colorism.
Yes, I know. This one is a very substantial kwentuhan, so I hope that you enjoy listening.
Good morning, Ayin. Thank you so much once again for joining me here at Kwentuhang Pilipina, a safe space for you to listen and be heard. And now let's have some icebreaker muna. So we will play a game called Never Have I Ever. Never have I ever thought of blowing up on TikTok.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's so funny. I actually did. But as a joke, I said, sabi ko, like, as soon as I switched my phone, kasi nga, I've had my phone for like 5 years. Tapos, it was breaking down, the camera was so bad, as in, like, namamatay na siya yung battery. It was so, like, it was so short-lived. Tapos sinasabi ko lagi, ay nako, like, once I upgrade my phone, just wait for it. I'm gonna be a TikTok superstar. That's what I kept telling my family. Pero syempre, as a joke. Kasi yun. And then, that
Here you are. Yeah. Okay. So, second question is, never have I ever dreamt of having my own clothing line, which is Morena.
I have dreamt of that my whole life. So, I feel like I'm very intentional with the things that I do. So I don't even try to hide the fact that I have been dreaming for the things that I'm doing. And as for Morena the Label, like, my first business was when I was 15, 16, and it was also a t-shirt thing. So it's been a while.
I see. Wow, you're very intentional. Okay, so lahat I have. Okay, this is a third. This is kind of about your Morena journey naman.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of personal as well. Disclaimer, never have I ever felt insecure in my skin color.
Oh, I have felt insecure, like, super. That's the whole reason Morena the Label was born. That's the whole reason I started studying about colorism, because I wanted to find the solution for those insecurities that I experienced, and I know a lot of girls who look like me also experience. So I was definitely insecure when I was growing up, but not anymore.
Yes, or Ayin, confidence. Like
Confidence.
Yeah. Now let's head over to your Morena story, since dun na rin naman tayo nagtapos sa Never Have I Ever natin. Let's just continue it. First of all, can you tell us about your journey from being the girl who saw her skin color as an insecurity, just like what you said, to being the woman that you are today, who embraces your identity? Is there any particular moment that made you think, you know what, I don't care about the media or those beauty standards? Just like the statement, I set my own beauty standards. I have that one as well. And I just who I am.
I think for me, it was a very gradual progress and process. Because when I started feeling insecure about my skin color, it was because I was a swimmer, and Morena na nga ako, I was even extra tan because I would spend so much time, outdoors, swimming under the sun. The super, grabe talaga yung tan ko nun. And I was super insecure as a kid kasi nga naaasar ako about it. But then, over time, so I quit swimming because of that reason. As in, I quit swimming because I was getting dark, which is so, unthinkable now. But I guess when I was in college, kasi I wrote my paper on colorism. And doing that research really empowered me and helped me figure out what the underlying reasons were for colorism as opposed to just a personal thing. Kasi syempre, when I was growing up, I didn't really understand it. I took it really personally na akala ko there was something wrong with me. Akala ko it was something against me. But realizing and learning how systemic it was and how much it can be improved, I realized na, I can start with myself and eventually work towards that and just have that be my advocacy na talagang yun na talaga yung naging work ko ever since.
Yes, and actually, as an OG follower of you, I think, ayun nga, sabi ko dito, nasa script, guys. I read no, in one of your posts that your thesis topic na kaka-mention mo lang din was related to challenging colorism. So, I'm glad that you mentioned it already. So, what have you learned from that thesis and how did your learnings fuel you to become more empowered?
Yeah, so the title of my thesis in 2015, so this was kind of a long time ago, oh my gosh, 6 years ago. 6 years ago, I wrote Language and Colorism, Beauty Ideologies, and Fonts Philippines YouTube advertisements. So these are all YouTube ads, and what I did was I analyzed 40 ads from, I think, 2014 to 2015. That's all about skin whitening, or I think earlier than that, sorry. But anyway, my thesis is available online if anyone wants to check it out. It's easily
Oh,
Googleable. But what I found was that we use language to maintain the beauty ideologies that we have here in the Philippines. And like language plays a really huge role. Like the way that we talk about white skin, the way that we talk about fair skin, the way that we talk about dark skin, it's all with our word choice, how we associate these beauty features, like these features, these human features, how we associate them with beauty, and what words we select to talk about them. So, realizing that language is one of the reasons why colorism is still such a huge thing, even at that time, like 2015, I realized that as a storyteller, somebody who really uses language on a daily basis to create, to communicate, I realized that there was more power pala than we initially thought. Because, when we think about beauty ideologies, we think now, oh, we can't fight those standards. Those standards are just there. Like, it's been there for centuries,
yes,
centuries. Yeah, centuries. I mean, colonization
yes,
and everything. So, it's been there. Parang it's so ingrained in our society that I don't know if I didn't know if it was changeable. But then seeing how language played such an important role, I realized that if we can consciously maintain those harmful beauty standards through like ads, the media, then we can also, through the use of our own language and the boom of the internet, where everybody has a platform. I love that we all have a platform on the internet, then we can challenge colorism. And that is why I started creating my YouTube videos about Morena skin. I started talking about colorism online. I started writing articles. I started Morena the Label, which is all about, the statement t-shirts that challenge colorism. So at the end of the day, it was all about using what I did have. I don't think I have a lot of talent with math and science and whatever, but I do have a way with words. And I realized that I can use that very specific talent with words to challenge what was my insecurity as a kid and hopefully make it easier for the following generations to feel confident in their skin. So
yes,
that's kind of what happened.
yes, and actually, I can attest to that. Your platform is amazing. You really inspire a lot of people. And what I picked up from what you said is that yung pag-challenge pala natin sa colorism, it's in our everyday lives. It's in our choice of words. Like, hindi siya isang big thing na mawawala na siya agad. It's a challenge every single day that we have to face, but it is possible. Posible pala na labanan natin ito at hindi lang natin panatilihin na naka-ingrain lang sa atin.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, exactly.
Thank you for sharing that. I will for sure look up your thesis online.
Yeah, please do.
Okay, so let's jump into another aspect of Ain Bernos, which is content creation.
Ooh.
Yes, are you excited?
Yeah, I love content creation.
Yes. Okay, so from being on YouTube, I think yes, that was your first platform on YouTube. Now
Mm-hmm.
TikTok and Spotify as well because of the podcast, on Instagram and all the other social media platforms. I want to know, what is your why in creating content?
First of all, I look at social media as the great equalizer. Like I said, na parang, if you have if you have access to social media, you pretty much can build a platform for yourself. You can be heard if you're on social media, and it's definitely not like before na anyone who has access to TV, yun lang yung may access to the general public. With social media now, everyone has the opportunity to do that, to be heard, to share their own stories, etc. And I guess my real why, well, when I started and I guess up until now, was really all about representation, because it really mattered to me. I feel like it would have made a lot of difference if I had seen somebody who looked like me, who
Yeah.
had the same background as me growing up. And I did have I had one role model, which was Bianca Gonzalez. She was the pretty much the only person on TV that remotely looked like me because of our skin color. But then, what about all the others? I felt like I did not have a shot because I didn't really see that much. Like, how many Morenas do you see endorsing big brands? How many Morenas, at least during my time? Because, by the way, for the listeners, I'm 26 years old. So, it's, like, this was before social media. Um, anyway, so when I was like a little kid, I didn't have a lot of role models on TV and like mainstream media. So when I had finally got access to the internet and the wonderful world of content creation, I made it a point to be visible, not because I want to be visible, but I also want to, pursue my dreams, but at the same time, allowing the younger generation of girls or boys who look like me or may have the same background ish as me, the same dreams as me, to just know that it's possible. Like, it's highly doable, and I don't have to be apologetic about it. I don't have to change myself to make it happen. So I just want to be living proof that you can be unapologetic about who you are, you can be authentic, and you can still make things happen. So hopefully I do that, but that's my why.
Your why is amazing. And you know what? It's true because kahit sa business actually, I personally look up to female leaders, female
Yes.
CEOs, like you, Miss Nina, Mr. Riza, Miss Risa, Chilio, and everyone who just does that. Kasi personally then growing up, nakikita ko lang na leaders mostly are men. And parang I have to build it up on myself that I can be a leader, even if
Mm-hmm.
I'm a leader because I'm a woman. Hindi despite.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
it's amazing. It's true na mahalaga na may role models ang younger generation. One book recommendation, Run to Win. Run to Win. It's about um sabi niya doon is that, well, non-verbatim. Um when a woman tries to enter into politics and even if hindi niya nakamit yung gusto niya, which is to win, she is making it easier for the next woman in line. Because nagko-compound lahat ng mga sumusubok para mas maging madali sa susunod na generation.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm
That's
glad.
true. Like just having the visibility there, like being more visible. Because I feel like there's so much space. The thing is, with a lot of the circles or like what I've seen, usually they'll have one woman, and just because they had one woman, they feel like okay, that's it. We've given you your slot. Yun lang, one girl only, and then the rest can wait, and then we'll make space when the woman leaves, and then we can get another. But that's not the case. I feel like there's so much space for women to keep pursuing things, to keep leading, and hindi siya competition na we
Yeah,
shouldn't be like unahan tayo dun sa slot for a woman. But actually, like whoever wants to do it should be able to do it because there is so much space for all of us, I think.
yeah. There is space for everyone. It's true. And ganun din actually sa content creation, like sa YouTube. Nandun na tayo
Mm-hmm.
sa, ano na yun, na parang kapag nag 100,000 subscribers na siya, parang, bakit parang imposible na sa akin? But no, instead of being threatened, I think a much better mindset is to be inspired that if they can do it,
Mm-hmm.
you can do it too.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like, people watch so many people all at the same time. You're not competing for audiences, you're sharing audiences.
Yes. Yes. Okay, you said that you thought just as a joke of being this huge personality on TikTok, a TikTok superstar, just like what you said. And right now there are a lot of aspiring people who want to create a living out of content creation. If there is one thing that they should know about the reality of making a living out of creating content, what is it?
I think it's that mm, magkaiba yung itsura, I think. Because it really depends. It's a very vague industry in terms of like brand deals. Because obviously people earn through like YouTube, you have AdSense, but then on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, if you have a following there, it doesn't really matter unless you can monetize it. I mean, as far as being a full-time content creator is concerned, um, hindi ka babayaran ng likes mo, hindi ka babayaran ng audience mo unless you can properly treat it as a business. And I guess if you want to do content creation full time, you have to treat it as if it's a business. And by business, I mean it's an everyday job. By business, I mean it's a consistent thing na you plan ahead your content. You can't disappear for a long time and expect brands to come back and work with you. I think that's one of the things that I learned very late because I didn't want to just parang treat it as a job because I was like, oh, this is my hobby. But I wasn't honest with myself. I really wanted to make it my full time thing, but I wasn't honest with myself. I kept saying, oh, I'm just doing this for fun, but I didn't want that. I wanted it to be a sustainable hobby and not just a hobby but also like a business. So I wish I knew earlier that I needed to show up as if it was my business, like uploading YouTube videos not just when I want to, but like every week the way I promised my audience that I would show up every week. Same with like the Camp Confidence podcast. Like the moment we became consistent with our uploads, we had a schedule. It was much more easier for brands to rely on us as well, and it was much easier to sell yourself as a content creator as opposed to somebody who just has a following online by mere luck. So I wish I knew that if I wanted to take it seriously, I should have taken it seriously way before I started working with other people for it. So yeah, I think that's just based on experience.
I think maraming makaka-relate sa sinabi mo. So, thank you for saying that. And it's true, on top of all that, you are your own brand as well.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay, now that you mentioned about consistency and about showing up, Because even if we know that consistency is key, it is hard. It is
Mm-hmm.
hard to be consistent. I just want to ask you, do you have any system that has helped you in staying consistent?
I love systems. Like systems are what I live for. So okay, I guess for me, it took me a long time to figure out what really worked for me. But one of the biggest things is I needed to ask myself, okay, what challenges am I facing? Because this is something that is not solvable by anybody else. Like, I will not be able to find a YouTube video that will specifically answer my questions and my problems about consistency. Because consistency is a you problem, it's a me problem. So for me, I asked myself, why wasn't I consistent with like my YouTube posting? Where was the difficulty? Like, what was the, like the bottleneck? Where was I slowing down? And I realized for me was number one, when I was just starting out, of course, I had my full time job. I was working like a full time job, and then I had two part time jobs. And then I was starting Morena the label, and then I was doing YouTube. It was so much. And then I was also targeting 3 times a week, every single week of uploads, which is so much. Like, how was that ever sustainable? It wasn't sustainable. So what I realized was I was burning out, and that's why I wasn't consistent because my standards were too high. 3 times a week, imagine. I was
So,
uploading full videos 3 times a week, and it was not realistic. But I was doing that for like 2 years na tinatarget ko talaga yan. So I couldn't show up every time because 3 times a week was just too much, especially for
yes,
my work. Alam mo yan, like I
yes,
had a whole life outside YouTube.
yeah.
So after that, so I discovered that I had issues with like the 3 times a week schedule. And then okay, what other problems did I have? I had a problem with editing because honestly, like I hate listening to myself multiple times. Like, syempre, I'll film myself, diba? I'll film myself, and then after that, I'll go edit myself. I'll listen to myself again, and then I'll listen to it, kasi I need to rewatch kung ano nangyari. Tapos, at a certain point, after doing this for so long, it's just exhausting. To like, I hate listening to my own voice for that long. So my next target was I knew I needed to get an editor. So how do I get an editor? I need to, number one, afford an editor. So how do I afford an editor? Make content creation sustainable. I need to be earning from content because I can't be paying for an editor tapos wala naman akong kinikita sa content. So how do I earn from content? I become more consistent. So like, alam mo yan, it was a game plan. The system is figuring out all of the steps to get to my goal. And then more than just the steps, figuring out all of the parts where I know something will go wrong. And, again, this is all about being honest with yourself. And like, honestly, tell me, sa sarili mo, like, tell yourself, saan ka ba nahihirapan? And it's okay if nahihirapan ka. Because if you admit that you're having difficulty, then you can address the problem. And I guess it took me so long to to realize this. It took me forever to be honest with myself. But when I did, that's when things started falling into place. I was able to finally hire, like, I get like an editor who was doing like on a per video basis. And then I got a co-host for the podcast because I couldn't do it myself. I thought, akala ko, I could do it myself the whole time. Pero na-realize ko, I needed somebody more experienced with business because I feel like there's so much na I can still share if somebody else was with me. So that's why I asked Riza to like, hi Riza, you don't know me yet, but like, do you want to host a podcast with me? And then, those things, addressing the issues, the real issues, made things really work finally after so long.
So, dapat marunong tayo kapag kailangan na siyang i-delegate sa iba.
Yes.
Pag-focus ka sa kung ano yung strength mo.
Yeah, kasi, like, we're not gonna be good at everything. Especially, I
Yes.
know, yung mga creatives na business people na gusto nila gawin lahat-lahat kasi, they're good at everything. But realistically, you can't be in charge of everything. That's not the way to scale your work. So ayan.
Yes, it's true. And even if gusto mo siyang gawin lahat kasi kaya mo naman and gusto mo lahat perfect, I think it's best if you just delegate it to someone and teach them the way that you want it to be. So
Yeah,
delegation is key.
for sure.
Okay. There are a lot of bumps in the road. Just like what you mentioned about the system palang and everything. Before you reach this vision of becoming a big YouTuber or a big influencer, like sometimes you post content for years and you still haven't blown up or you still haven't reached your vision. How would you know if it's still worth pursuing?
The thing is, the reason why I've lasted from 2016 to 2020 without, really getting paid for it was because I enjoyed doing it. Like, I never created content for other people. I created content for myself because I love, making videos. I love being in front of the camera. And so even if I didn't get anything from it, I just did it. I just did it for the enjoyment of it because it made me feel like I was doing something that I cared about. But then I also realized that I could be monetizing and I could be parang I could be like optimizing my processes para yung hobby ko, which I genuinely enjoy, can also be sustainable. Kasi hindi siya sustainable in the long run. So that's when I started having a plan of how to do things. Pero again, at the core, I just love doing it. Like, I don't worry about what I'll post on Instagram because I will always post on Instagram anyway. Like, even if I didn't have a following, I will still post on Instagram. I never
Mhm.
worry about that. As for TikTok, wala, I like doing it. Even when I had like 200 followers, I still posted.
Wow.
I mean, it was never about getting seen because like
Mhm.
it's hard. Like if you
Yeah.
anchor your purpose on getting seen,
Yes.
parang
You lost
hindi siya talaga. Yeah, it's hard. But again, kaya nga that's also why I still have the business. I could be pursuing content creation as a job, but I just don't think it will be good for me personally, like my mental health, if I relied on my likes, my views for my bread and butter. Because it's a lot of pressure, and I don't think as a the kind of person that I am, I don't think I'm cut out for that. I feel like I'm somebody who's more um I feel like I do content creation more for the storytelling as opposed to the numbers, but I know that the numbers are important to get money. So then that's why I have all the other sources of income so that when, inevitably, hindi naman lahat superstar or like not everyone has a following forever. I really think, people go up and down the trending scale of of the social media landscape. Yeah, parang we can't always be at the forefront of everybody's minds. So I just don't expect it to be like an I'm not entitled to people's attention. So, like if they don't care, I it's fine. Like no big deal. But at the end of the day, I tell stories, I create because I feel like I have something to share, and if people find value in them, then great. That I'm glad. But at the end of the day, if ayaw din naman, okay lang. As long as masaya lahat.
Yeah, and I'm very surprised. Hindi surprised eh, pero I'm glad that you said na you did YouTube for years without getting paid, and it's okay with you because you enjoy it. You enjoy the process,
Yeah.
everything. And you know what? I think share ko na yun din because this is Kwentuhang Pilipina, Kwentuhang
Mhm.
dahil dito. I think it's also very important na sa content creation, masaya ka. Like, masaya ka talaga. Because, honestly, the reason, okay, never ko to sinabi sa audience ko, but the reason
Mm.
I stopped uploading, last upload ko noong January 30 was because I feel like I am unhappy hindi na ako masaya because, pero like, hindi siya yung isang beses lang na hindi ka masaya eh. Hindi ka masaya consistently na parang dumating sa
Yeah.
time na magpo-post ako ng YouTube video, iiyak ako. Because
Talaga?
dumating na doon kasi burnout na talaga ako. Because tapos check ng statistics and everything. Sobrang nakaka-frustrate na siya. So,
Yeah.
I, I think it's true na kailangan mo nga siyang i-acknowledge sa sarili mo and you know when it's still worth pursuing or when to stop. But, well, for me naman, hindi ko naman siya tinigil completely. Like, nandito ako sa
I mean, you
podcast.
still have the podcast, yeah.
Yes. And I focus on Hiraya Filipina now because yun yung mas nagbo-blossom and I feel like mas kailangan yung energy ko. So, I'm sorry. Oh my God, nag-open dito sa podcast.
Yeah, wait, when was the last time you uploaded on YouTube?
January 30. Tapos, buong February nag-stop ako. Kasi sabi ko, okay,
Mm-mm.
mukhang lang ang kailangan ko. Then,
Mm-mm.
I uploaded again on March kasi medyo lumabas kami noon. And then, sabi ko, vlog ako, baka pwede ko nang ituloy. Pero,
Yeah.
hindi ko pa siya feel. I think I just needed to acknowledge na hindi ko pa siya feel. And then,
Yeah.
kailangan ko pa ng time.
You know, yung sa akin, oh my God, sobrang dami kong ganyang, ang dami kong ganyang moments. And actually, I stopped uploading during last year pandemic, yung beginning, I think it was around March. I stopped uploading completely. As in, like, I was focused na on, like, I was pretty set on giving up. Like, parang, like, I don't, like, I have nothing to share. We were on lockdown. Like, anong gagawin ko sa lockdown, diba? Like, hindi ako nagta-travel. So, how can I do travel vlogs? Tapos, I just felt like I didn't have anything to share anymore. But then TikTok happened. And when, I guess I kind of blew up on TikTok, I realized, dun ko na kita talaga, like, what people get from me. And I realized it wasn't the travel stuff. It wasn't really the makeup stuff, but it was, like the daily reminders, the
Yeah.
systems, the productivity hacks. Na, I was so confused about what? Like, you cared about that? Like, I didn't know that anyone really cared about them because I loved working on them before. But then the videos didn't really perform well. So parang ako, like, does anyone really watch my productivity videos? Like, I didn't know if anybody watched them. But then, yun nga, when TikTok happened, na-realize ko na all this time, I was just kasi confused, I guess, with the kind of content that I created, na people could not find me. So even though I was frustrated and I was doing all of these, videos, creating content about what I cared about, pero feeling ko hindi nila naman gusto. Hindi naman pala sa hindi gusto. It was more like, I just didn't allow people to find me. And because of TikTok na I really expanded. I started opening up. I made the Tagalog account, which was so helpful nung nag-start ako ng Tagalog account. Doon talaga ako parang nakita ng mga tao na parang, oh, she exists. So, dun siya naging, what was that?
So, I saw your TikTok video na, yung ganun na tugtog. And sabi mo, me creating content in English for 5 years. And
I
then,
know.
Tagalog content for only 4 months. And you're close to 1 million followers.
Yeah, so insane. As in, I think I was just so stuck. Like, parang nakaganon lang yung focus ko kasi for so long nang I thought kasi na I wanted to be like Lavender or I wanted to be with like all of these international creators who created content in English because I thought that's what I wanted. But then I realized again, my why is all about representation, like allowing people to see that this is possible. And if I wasn't tailoring that to like the Filipino audience, then what was I doing? So then, ayun, so parang I opened this up na I started creating more understandable content, more relatable, more Tagalog content. So ayun, tapos nung ganun na yung nangyari, it became more accessible and people were able to appreciate it more and learn more as well. So I feel like it's a win-win I was able to turn my YouTube channel back on, as in like it's alive again, and I get to do it objectively as opposed to before na parang wala lang, I just want to share what's happening with my life, ganyan. Pero kasi if ako, hindi, I realize I'm not the kind of person who can just openly share, like daily vlogs. Hindi ako ganon, nababurn out ako sa ganon. So I realized na, again, like these are things na as a work in progress, you learn things about yourself, and then when you do learn these new things, tsaka ka mag-adjust. So for me, it's been adjustment, 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 adjustment. And then until ngayon, nag-adjust pa rin naman ako, pero at least hindi na ako nababurnout kasi na-address ko na yung mga concerns kung bakit ako nag-burnout.
That's
And yun.
Yeah, that's good. And totoo na wala talagang overnight success. Like the
Wala
way
talaga.
yes, the way you blow up on TikTok, hindi siya swerte lang. Kasi sabi mo nga, ang daming in-adjust mo bago mo siya nakuha talaga. And I think it was intentional. People are, ah, ayun, Bernos. Thank you. Thank you for not giving up on content creation because,
You shouldn't either. I can't wait for you to get back on YouTube.
ah, thank you. Okay, now, I think naparami na tayo ng kwentuhan sa content creation. So, let's dive into the last aspect in our kwentuhan right now, which is about entrepreneurship. I
Mm-hmm.
want to ask you, what drove you to entrepreneurship? Did you study business in college or?
Actually, my degree is in English language studies, which is linguistics. It was applied linguistics. But I've always had like an entrepreneurial bone in my body, I think. When I was, again, like my first business, I was 15, 16, ganyan. Tapos I sold band t-shirts. Tapos naalala ko, ewan ko, there was something so thrilling about like buying something in bulk, adding a profit, and then selling them to people. And parang what, like you made your own opportunity, because like I also worked like a 9 to 5 job. I've done both things. I've done like the freelancing thing. I've done like a corporate job. I've also done like business. So out of all of those, ang pinaka na enjoy ko talaga was like making money from what I offered, from the value that I offered, as opposed to like working and then receiving money at the end of the month, which is honestly, I love that as well. Your security. As in, like, there's nothing like the security of having somebody else worry about the profit and just doing your job. I love that. Pero at the same time, yung inclination ko talaga was always business. I think, ewan ko, like, I love the creative side of it, figuring out what else can I sell? What else can I come up with? How else can I, fix people's lives or with the services I offer? Yung mga ganong stuff. And ayun, it was really, I feel like I've always been into business. I just didn't want to admit it. Kasi nga, yung security is very, very good. Like, I love having security, pero wala eh, ganito talaga.
dito din na at
Yeah.
well, it's doing good. Morena the label is doing good because I think nakikita nila yung values mo na nagre-reflect sa Morena the label. And that's actually our second question. Oh, what a transition. How do your core values reflect in Morena the label? Kaya yun yung mas nakikita nila.
Morena the label was always about the community. It was never about me, as a Morena girl. It started with me as a Morena girl, but the whole point is to make that available to others as well. Like the empowerment that I felt through the education and the knowledge that I found about colorism. I wanted that to extend to the rest of the community, and that's, I guess, it resonates naman with people because I feel like intentional and authentic with how we communicate. Yun nga yung nakakatawa because I have a mastermind group, And one of the things that they told me was that I needed to sell. Like, I needed to sell. Like, dapat hindi ako mahiya magbenta. But the thing is, like, honestly, medyo nahihiya ako magbenta. Because for me, it's really the advocacy, like, the stories are important, ganyan. So parang, but sinasabi nila sa akin. But again, you can't forget na you also need to sell. Tapos parang, oh, yes, I know. Like, okay. But it's been mostly, organic. It's been mostly word of mouth, how people discover us. And the reason why people buy from Morena is because they want the same, it's for some people it's a t-shirt, yes, but for a lot of our customers it's like a way to be proud of their skin color. And most people, have never had a reason to be proud of their skin color, but now they do. So
Yeah, I love that because it really reflects na kung ano yung mga pinapahalagahan mo, which is community, representation, and it all reflects into this. That is why nararamdaman ng tao vibration, energy.
thank you.
Okay, now let's talk about your newly launched collaboration with Tala Ala PH. It is amazing. Oh my gosh, I ordered the necklace one. I am right about
You did! OMG! Thank you!
I can't wait na dumating. Yes, I
Wait,
absolutely
sorry,
love.
naghang yung Zoom ko.
Oo nga, ako yun din, sorry. Okay, so ayan.
Okay na
Stop
ba?
that.
There we go.
Because I absolutely love all the pieces that you made. They're all amazing. And I just want to ask you now, para na rin malaman ng ating listeners that yes, Bernos has a collaboration with Tala Ala PH. What is the meaning behind these beautiful reminders that are embellished in the jewel?
Yeah, so on TikTok kasi I've been doing daily reminders. They're just like notes to myself, honestly. Like they're not really like a general advice kind of thing. It was like they're from my journal. These are things that I've written for myself so I can remind myself to to think about these things whenever I feel, self-doubt, ganyan. Um so when Riza reached out to me and opened up the collaboration with Talaala. By the way, Talaala is a custom jewelry line. So she said na I need to come up with designs for the necklaces, ganyan. The necklace, the earrings, the ring, the bracelets, ganyan. Tapos, ayun, I was gonna sell them. Pero ako naman, I like as far as design is concerned, I don't think I had anything na I can offer na parang people would resonate with unless it's the same concept as Morena the label, it wasn't about me, it was something other people can resonate with and they can own, like they can own the words, they can own the Morena title. It's not an Ayin Bernos merch, it's their merch, so I use the opportunity to launch like an affirmations line. So these are things na I wish I could have as a tattoo. Alam mo yun? Like parang, I wish I could stamp it on my skin so I'm always reminded. But then not everyone can do that. And honestly, like I don't know if I want to keep all the tattoos like that for me. Pero imagine if they would be in jewelry, like engraved on jewelry. So, like you said, yung necklace, it says, I'm right about me. That's something that I wrote nung, I think, pauwi ako ng Spain. I think, no. Umuwi ako ng Spain and then nag 1 year ako sa Philippines. So, sabi kasi, I had an anonymous follower who told me na, what? Uuwi ka from Spain? Because for our listeners, because I spent a year in Spain. I was teaching there. I worked in Spain. Tapos umuwi ako because I wanted to, number one, continue the business. And then number two, na-miss ko pamilya ko. I wanted to be in the Philippines. Like, I want to be home. But then somebody told me na, uuwi kang Pinas? Like, hindi ka naman pala strong at independent eh. Tapos parang ako, like, what? Parang bakit? Like, do people think about that just because hindi ako magsistay sa Spain, hindi na ako strong, hindi na ako independent? So like for a year, I kept thinking to myself, like tama ba sila tungkol sa akin? Like tama ba sila na hindi ako strong, hindi ako independent? But then, I kept working. I launched Morena the label, and then it became like a full-time thing. I quit my freelance jobs. And then sabi ko, nung nag-anniversary ako from like coming home from Spain, sabi ko, you know what? I did this after you said I wasn't strong and independent. And guess what? I'm right about me. You can think whatever you want, but at the end of the day, I'm right about me. And I know myself better than anyone. So, ayun, talagang like, it was such a power, for me na, no, you don't know that about me. I'm right about me. I can say that about myself. So, bala ka, kung yan sasabihin mo, then okay, sure, think about that all you want. But at the end of the day, ako yung tama. Kasi ako to eh. This is my life. So yun. So this is just like, ako talaga, I need to hold on to that. Like, I cannot let other people's opinions get in the way. Kasi the reason why people, say these things about you, because they can't imagine it for themselves. Pag sinabi ko, uuwi akong Pilipinas to start a business, sinasabi nila, oh, that's not possible. But they're not saying that because of you. They're saying that because for them, hindi nila kaya yun.
Yes.
So,
It's
like, don't...
of their own.
Yeah, that's their own limitation. So I don't want other people's limitations to tell me how far I can go. Only I get to say how far I'll go. So, ayun. So, and the other thesis are other affirmations like this. So, we have like, what would my best self do? Another question that I always ask myself. And then, parang may partner siya na bracelet. It said, the next right thing. Like, parang my best self would always do the next right thing. And then, yung earrings ko, they say, no one is better than me and I'm better than no one. It's just, something that helps me feel confident na, hindi ako dapat ma-intimidate sa successful people, hindi ako dapat ma-intimidate sa mga taong malayo na narating. Because at the end of the day, we're all human, di ba? But at the same time, I'm better than no one. Ibig kong sabihin, even if, like, oo nga, you have accomplished a lot of things, but you're at the end of the day, you're also just a human being. So humble yourself. So it's both like confidence and humility, and it's always a good reminder because sometimes we can get parang nakakalimutan natin yung kung ano talaga tayo. So ayun lang, again, these are all just reminders na I like to hold on to, and hopefully a lot of people can also feel na useful sila sa buhay nila. So yun.
You know what? The reason why I actually wanted to make kwentuhan with you in this podcast is because I kind of see myself in you. Like, although I'm only 17, but
you're crazy. You're only 17. Ano ka ba? Oh my gosh.
kasi actually before then, parang nasa yung headspace ko rin nasa kapag nakikita ko yung tao na nagsa-succeed, nati-threaten ako, but it's because nasa maling headspace nga ako, because I should be inspired, and it's nice to be close with people who do the same thing as you do, kasi mas nakaka-inspire. That's why I actually love to converse with you, and nasabihan ako before that I have a way with words, because, I don't know, very coincidence siya, pero mag-release kami din this April ng powerful affirmations reminders t-shirts naman siya sa Hiraya Filipina. But, I just want to tell you na, itong affirmations na to, itong words na to from your jewelry, kaya rin ako nag-order, are very powerful as well. And hindi siya yung words na pangkaraniwan lang eh. Hindi siya yung parang, yung mga normal na you are strong, you are worthy. Although those are powerful, yours have a story, and that is why a lot of people resonate with it. Because
Aww.
you have a way with words. I love you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That means so much to me. And I'm so honored rin to like, to be part of your journey, like with the podcast. Ganyan, I get to be a guest here. Because like, oh my gosh, you're 17, first of all. And you're already doing so much. I remember like, because this is something that people have also told me, like ako naman when I was starting out, I was 22, 23, and then yung mga kausap ko, mga 30, 28, 29, 30 plus. Tapos, lagi nasasabi sa akin na, what? You're only 22? Like, you're only 23? Ganyan, ganyan. Like, you're already doing so much. And like, I find myself in their position now na parang, you're only 17? You're already doing so much. And I guess also one of the reasons I kept going was because I was surrounded by so many strong people, successful people who saw something in me. And I know you're also going to do great things. So just keep doing it and figure out what your, what do you call this? Figure out yung mga bottlenecks mo so you can address them and you can keep posting again.
Let's see. Let's see.
You got it.
Oh gosh. Okay. I don't want this conversation to end, but I know, Chankra, you still have a whole day in front of you. So, we are down to our last question. What is next for Miss Ayin Bernos?
That's so nakakatawa kasi may nagtanong din sa akin yan, like, what's your next launch? Tapos parang ako, wow, you guys think I always have a launch? But, pero, I think for me, it's just figuring out how I can sustain what I'm currently doing because, I'm very, like, everything is new right now. As in, like, oh my gosh. As in, sobrang fresh nung TikTok, nung YouTube is just building. Parang all of a sudden, biglang bumilis yung momentum. And I want to ride that momentum and hopefully maximize so I can, provide more and better content, ganyan, and consistency. Like, I really need stability in my life. I feel like I've been pursuing so many new things, since ever since naman, like, I would launch this, I would start this, like, podcast, YouTube channel, and then, merch, and then collaboration, and then, ang dami talagang kung ano-ano. And now I think it's time for me to kind of like, relax a little bit, figure out like the sustainable consistency that will, I guess, carry us through until the next big project. But hopefully, lagi ko sinasabi, so let me manifest na rin here. I want to publish a book. So, it's in my 5-year plan. Yeah, we'll figure out how to do that, but that's definitely happening.
Yeah! Nakita ko sa story mo, please get Ayin Bernos a book deal!
I need a book deal.
And sometimes it's true that it's not always about the launches and the spark. Kasi gusto lang natin ng simula because it's exciting, it's new. But how will you sustain that in the long run? And if that's next for you, then we're all here. We're all here supporting you all the way. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ayin, for this week. And for this, for being part of Kwentuang Pilipina and for agreeing to converse with me and share your kwento.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. I had fun.
I had so much fun talking with Ayin. She is such a substantial woman and I love her so much. What stayed with me sa conversation or kwentuhan namin is yung grabe, talagang nag-open na kami about our burnout moments, kumbaga, in terms of content creation, and I just feel so seen and heard. Like, ayun. Guys, by the way, disclaimer lang, baka kasi nung narinig yun, akala nyo, hindi pala masaya si Cleo sa content niya, Bakit ganun yun? Oh my gosh. No, guys. I loved content creation so much, and if I'm gonna be honest with you, I miss it. I already miss it so much. And what stayed with me sa conversation namin ni Ayin talaga is nung sinabi niya na sometimes hindi gusto ng audience ang content na nilalabas mo, but because hindi mo sila binibigyan ng opportunity to find you. You're not accessible, and most of the time it's because you're confused. That really hit me. And, as a content creator myself, it just stayed with me because I guess I just needed time right now to evaluate and reassess what my why really is, and to just stop running and running and running and running and doing and doing and doing, because I am such a big doer, guys. I have a bias towards action, and I'm so proud of that. But it also reminds me, this kwentuhan also reminds me that running so fast without a goal, without seeing a vision, is just running aimlessly. You are just running and running and running without thinking where you are headed. So yeah, how about you? What stayed with you sa kwentuhan namin, Ayin? I would love to know. So you should tag us on Instagram at Kwentuhang Pilipina. So follow us there as well. And do not forget to join our Facebook group. It is Kwentuhang Pilipina Community. Again, we have a Facebook group called Kwentuhang Pilipina Community, and doon talaga nagsasama lang lahat ng mga Pilipina and non-binary to share their kwentos, ganyan. Tapos, pwede rin kayong magkaroon ng chance to ask our future guests, because sinasabi namin doon ng maaga kung sino ang mga guests natin. I am looking forward to have you there. Again, it is Kwentuhang Pilipina Community. Go na kayo, guys. Mag-send na kayo ng invite. And I will see you next Monday for another podcast episode.